Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for being here. You have landed on this video probably because you're pregnant, probably because you are searching for something different. You are looking for a little bit more, and I want to say thank you so much for landing here on this page. I'm Christy Cooper. I am the face and the heart behind Little Doula on the Prairie, and I am a birth doula. I have been serving the Edmonton area now for the last 7 years. And I'm so excited just to have an opportunity to talk to you a little bit more about what a doula is, what we do, what we don't do, the packages that I offer, maybe answer a couple questions that you were thinking about, and we'll kind of get into everything. So this recording is meant to obviously, these birth consults that I do with potential clients, yourself included, I wanted to make a pre-recorded version that everyone's life is so busy. Your partner's busy, yourself is busy, and sometimes just carving out the time to sit and meet with me maybe just isn't going to happen anytime soon. So I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to the the best we can meet face to face and just say hi to each other. And the whole idea about you getting a doula is to have someone that you can envision coming into your space, holding your hand, supporting your partner. This is going to be the most vulnerable and empowering and wonderful moment of your life, and I need you to make sure that you are inviting in the right people. And so let's get into it. So first off, welcome, 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 welcome. Um, so basically, I like to start off with like obviously introducing myself. That's important. Hi, I'm Christy. Anyways, I originate from Irma, Alberta. It's a little farming community, which I'm so proud of just being from. My family are farmers, and I grew up farming and playing hockey and living in a small town. And so from there, I moved to the city, met my husband. We now live just outside of Tofield, Alberta, which is, I'm not gonna lie, never in my whole life did I think I would land in Tofield, but I'm so glad. It's such a wonderful, tiny little community. I have the closest friends who live near me, and we raise our children together. And so, yeah, I'm just this small town mama, doula, wife, and I'm just here trying to make space for birthing families here in Alberta to have the most empowering experience that they can have. So yeah, so basically, yeah, I took my doula training with Dona. I certified through them a little while ago and took my training through them. And so that was a long time ago. That was right around the time of my birth of Mary, my first daughter. She was born in 2016. I guess how I got into this, just like you, going in to have my first baby, thought that I knew all of the things. I really didn't think that I needed to learn too much. Like many women, we think that we can kind of do everything by ourselves because we're strong, we are independent. But giving birth is pretty next level, and I want you guys, as I kind of share my story, maybe you'll see yourself a little bit inside of that. Yeah, I went into my first birth. We had some fertility issues, so Mary was conceived with fertility meds. We found out I was pregnant, beautiful pregnancy, things worked out great. And then we got towards the end. My partner, Russell, bless his heart, he's kind of a high anxiety dude, which is like fine. Everyone's unique in their own skin. I thought it would be best for him if I took on everything. Like I supported myself through labor. I didn't lean into him too much because like I knew he couldn't handle a whole bunch. I'm not gonna lie, I looked into a doula, but me being Christy, I was like, oh no, I'm fine. I'll do again, I can do everything by myself. Don't worry about it. I've grown up on a farm. I see birth all of the time. We wake up and there's kittens and cats and dogs and horses and cows. And so from a true basis of me growing up, birth is just a life experience. It kind of like comes over you. So that's kind of like, and it's still a little bit foundationally of where I sit and view birth. I do believe that like we are built to birth. We can do all of these really hard things. Um, but sometimes it just takes a little bit of support. So with my first daughter, I went into Camrose and I had my baby there. Uh, it was okay. I'm not gonna lie. It kind of probably spearheaded my whole journey into becoming a doula and protecting the space for women and other families, just like inside that birth space. And so, Russ didn't know much of what he was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. I was pretty naive. I was like, oh, I have like 10 nieces and nephews. I can get through birth. Like, I'm not too worried about this. And so, anyways, go into birth. My water broke, things took off. And I was lucky that my body kind of got into a rhythm shortly after that. And then I ended up getting an epidural, which looking back now, I have nothing against epidurals. I just want to put that out there too. A lot of people think that doulas are only for people who don't want pain medication. And that's just not true. Um, Anyways, I got an epidural, gave birth to this baby. It was, I kind of describe it as like this like meh experience. Like I truly thought growing up, like I didn't know and what I was going to do with much of my life like growing up. Like what do you want to be when you grow up? Like I don't know, like but I always wanted to be a mom. I always wanted to be a mother. And so I put so much into this birth, like in my head, like hyping myself up, being like, oh my gosh, this is going to be the most explosively beautiful experience I've ever had in my whole life. And so, sometimes I tell this to clients, and if we were face to face, you were sitting on the other end of the Zoom, which I guess you're listening, so I guess you are. I kind of compare birth for the first time a lot like losing your virginity, like all over again. It can either be like super special and romantic, and you've waited your whole life for this moment, and it kind of takes you two places. You can be like, oh yeah, like, that was the best I could have ever have expected, or you're kind of slightly disappointed. And so personally for Christy, her first birth experience, she was kind of feeling disappointed. And so I couldn't really put a nail on it off the hop, but ultimately I believe truly it came down to the type of support that I had in the room. Um, I kind of felt like I was supporting my support people. I love my mother. She is the most sweetest lady on the planet, but she's never supported someone through birth. She's given birth. Russell, my husband, he's an only child. He's never seen it. He was it, and that was it. So again, I didn't really set us up for success with our births. And so after that birth, I kind of leaned into more like what a doula was and kind of got into that. And so I ended up taking my doula training shortly after that. And so the rest is kind of history. I really truly thought it was going to be like this super, oh, I'm just going to like have this low key hobby of hanging out with birthing families and supporting them and loving them. And it has now turned into this big, busy thing, which I'm so privileged and excited to be a part of. I honestly did not expect it to be like this, which tells me that you and so many other families are out here trying to be something different. We're trying to break the mold. We're reclaiming our birth. We are reclaiming so many aspects of our life. And so I think that is why maybe doulas are getting a little bit more known in the birthing space. And so we'll kind of go into like why this isn't something new. For as long as we have been giving birth on this planet, we have been supporting each other through this thing. The word doula does come through this Greek verbiage of meaning uh, woman who serves. So today, this could be referring to the professional. So basically, today, yeah, this is just referring to like us instead of like this ancestral knowledge of like being passed from like woman to woman to woman in our community, like it used to be. Um, we're now kind of referred, we go, we take a training, we get certified, we remain in the scope of practice. We're kind of not just going um, off on our own, doing our own thing. So we are trained to provide physical, emotional, and informational support for you guys throughout your pregnancy, your birth, and into the early postpartum period. Again, this is not something new. We have been doing this for a really, really long time. And so you think back to a few generations ago, even to like our great grandmothers, our great great grandmothers, they were all for the most part birthing at home with people in the community, or the doctor came to their house, or they leaned into the women who have been giving birth and supporting other women in the space. And so this isn't something new. Um, but I do find that again, we're reclaiming so much in our lives right now that I feel like this is where doulas are kind of showing up and being able to be this integral part of your birthing journey. And so I'm excited to talk more about it and get more into it. Um, so what do we do? So doula is going to come into the space. The biggest thing here that like if you can take home anything after this recording, it is just to remember that as a doula, we are not medical professionals. We by no means take over the roles and skills and important space that medical professionals do. We are not a midwife. We are not a nurse. We are not a doctor. That being said, we do come in with our own set of skills and knowledge to make a difference in your birthing journey. But at the end of the day, we are not like legally bound into your birth medically to, is it important to us? Absolutely. But that is why we have midwives and doctors and nurses. They are there to take care of you and your baby's well-being on a medical sense, which kind of like leaves some gaps. Sometimes within that, there's just so much to do that there isn't sometimes a whole lot of space for the emotional support of what pregnancy, labor, birth, postpartum can be, the physical support, advocacy, informational support. And so basically, yeah, our role is to come into your birth space, whatever that may look like. We'll talk about birthing locations here in a few minutes. And we're here to support you guys, your partner, and your family in making what decisions you guys want to make in the birth space and feel empowered through it. My big thing here is informed decision making. I want you guys, no matter how birth unfolds, you're part of the decision making process the whole entire time. But yeah, big thing here is just, yeah, our role and agenda are completely tied to you. There's nothing, we should have no skin in the game of with regards of like what your birth looks like and feels like. It is, your birth is a direct reflection of like what you have envisioned, given whatever, like if there's certain risk factors in your birth, maybe there's none, maybe you are birthing at home, maybe you want pain medication, maybe you don't want pain medication, maybe you are leaning deeply into a planned cesarean. Like there's so many ways birth can happen, and what means the most is what it means to you. And so you'll hear that a lot in our journey together. I just kind of flip it back to you. Like, how does that make you feel? What do you want to do? What does postpartum you need to make the next best decision for you guys? So yeah, also we don't work for any other providers. We are working with you. So like, as important as it is to have your care provider and everyone feel respected in the room and do all those things and keep you safe, I'm never going to get in the way of that. But I do want to make space for a conversation to happen if there's a safe amount of time and space to do that. Um, so yeah, we don't work for the hospital, and we're working for you. And so I think that is a big thing too. Remember, uh, what a doula doesn't do. Okay, so things that a doula doesn't do. So we do not perform any clinical tasks such as vaginal exams, fetal heart monitoring, because we are not medically trained. We are a doula with so many other skills, and so we leave these important tasks up to your care provider to keep an eye on all of those things because we are medically trained not to like we can't interpret all of these things. So we do not give medical advice or diagnose any conditions. We do not make any decisions on your behalf, medical or otherwise. Legally, I cannot make that decision for you. This is why me and you and your partner work so closely together, because if we get into a moment where we do need to say like no, stop, I don't consent, do these things, it can't be from me, it has to be from your partner or yourself. um, I'll make space to make that happen for you guys, but legally it can't come from me. We do not pressure you guys into making certain choices just because it's what we prefer. So don't think like, oh, Christy's only here for the unmedicated home birth mothers and birthing families of Alberta. So like, don't think that. Again, your birthing journey and your birth story is a reflection of you and how you want to birth. And so um, it has nothing to do with me. I just get to support you throughout that whole journey of decision making. We don't take over the role of the partner. That's kind of a big one. I feel like that one just needs its own slide to be dedicated to. So, partners, if you're listening here, I want you to know how important you are in this space, how wanted you are in this space, how much of a role that I could never fill. And I need you in there. We work as a team. I'm never here to replace anyone. As deeply as you want to be involved, hands on, I will get you in there. My goal is to have you guys feel so connected and experience birth so much together that I'm just facilitating the back end stuff. So I'm making sure you are fed. I'm making sure your partner is fed. I'm making sure that I am showing him and sharing my skills with them so they can themselves be confident in the space to do that supporting with you. As much time as like we're ever going to be able to spend together during this time, if you choose to be coming in with me as a client, I'm never going to be able to get to know you as deeply as your partner does. And so I honor that and I get them in that space where they're most needed, and where they want to be at the same time, because your idea of birth is going to be one thing and then also their idea of birth is going to be one thing. And so I want to make sure that we like marry those two worlds together and set those expectations up for both of you. I do not ever catch children, delivering children. I should say I should never be doing that. I should never be putting myself in the space where I'm purposefully trying to deliver your babies. Doulas, that is not in their scope of practice. That being said, there are some very organic scenarios that do happen. If that were to ever happen in our time together at a birth, it's a very organic unfolding scenario where like that was not planned, that was not intended, the midwife is on their way or there's EMS on the way. Birth, you've probably heard like she's hard to plan, she lives her own life. So sometimes babies come when they want to come, but it is important to me, again, your partner, to get them as involved as humanly possible if this is a scenario that's unfolding with us, and making sure that we have the right people in the space when they need to be there. So again, here we should never be purposefully be doing that as a doula. That is not in my scope of practice. They do not change shifts. So as a doula, personally, with me and my practice, I do run a solo practice. It's just me, and so from the time you enter active labor to the time that you give birth, I'm with you. I'm with you the whole time. Um, at the end of the day, I am a mother and a wife, and sometimes life might happen. I do have kids, so kids are unpredictable. If someone got crazy sick or got hurt and I had to go. But that being said, as you and me go on this journey together, we're going to be talking about backup support. And I guess this is a good time to even just chat about it now. But backup support for me, there are doulas here in the community that I lean into if I'm in need of a backup support. Know that if a backup support was ever called to your birth, it would be because I'm deep into another birth and I can't leave that one. And so I'm sending some support your way so you have somebody. And then when I am finished with the other birth, I come to you. My goal, whenever backup is ever called, is to get to you. I am invested into you. And so I'm working hard to get to you. And so know that if a backup is called, you will have knowledge of who that person is. And if you have a preference on who that backup would like to be, say you connect with me and you want me to be primary, but if I can't be there, you want so and so, I would reach out to them directly and bring them in on our team if they're available. And so know that you guys always have control over who comes into your space. I need you to be comfortable with that. So that being said, also if backup is called to your birth, that is a fee that I am dealing with them. I will be paying them directly. You do not have any extra fee on top of that. That is included into the fee that you are paying me. And so that is the backup chat. So why are doulas so effective? So there's a little chart here, which includes like clinical benefits, emotional benefits, and some physical support. So basically, I would say a lot of this, that first harsh environment theory. So and yeah, it's just saying here in developed countries, ever since birth moved out of the home and into the hospital, laboring people are frequently submitted to a more like institutionalized routine of high intervention rates, staff who are strangers, a lack of privacy, a lack of feeling of support, bright and lighting, needles, all that kind of thing. So what a doula can bring into your space, on top of all of these things that we'll talk about, I would say the most important thing here is this emotional support. When you walk into your birth and you have decreased anxiety, more confidence in yourself, and this has to also do with your partner. When you guys both come into the space feeling like you're, again, decreased anxiety, your confidence in yourself and each other is up, your self-esteem is up, you feel empowered in your decision making. This ultimately gives you a better postpartum mental health experience in most cases, which leads to a better family bonding stuff. So this in itself, I would say, is where tons and most of your benefits come as a doula, is that continuous person in your space that you love and trust, that makes you feel loved and supported and safe. So when we start talking about clinical benefits, so as a doula, when we come in, we can reduce the use of Pitocin. If you've never heard of Pitocin before, you may have heard of your friends giving birth and saying that they had to be augmented with a drip. Pitocin is a synthetic form of oxytocin that we naturally make in our own bodies. So it helps makes contractions stronger, longer, more intense. And so Time and place for everything as we quickly just go through these clinical benefits. Um, these interventions were created to save mothers, families, and babies. Okay. I just want to like throw that out there. I am in no way against any of these things. There is a time and a place for every single one of these, if medically they're indicated into your path, into your journey. And so don't think I'm anti intervention, because I am not. I have seen these save clients of mine and their babies. That being said, I have also seen them maybe not used for the right intentions. And so my job when any of these fall into your path is that you have said yes to them and you feel good about them and you know why they're there as a part of your journey, rather than sitting in the postpartum period and being like, why on earth did they ever induce me? Why did they break my water? Why did they do these things? I don't want you to ask why in your postpartum period. I want you to know why when it's happening. So, reduced use of Pitocin. This is just us protecting that oxytocin production between me and your partner. We're doing alternative stuff like nipple stimulation, again, making you feel safe, making you just protect that little bubble around you. Fewer requests for pain meds. When you guys feel safe, you feel loved, back to the emotional support. You and your partner come in there and you guys have less anxiety, confidence, self esteem. You feel good about your birth. You feel all these things. It is wild how incredible this, like, your level of threshold, like where you think you're like, oh, no, 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 Christy, I can't do pain, I can't do intensity. And then you get into it and you're like, oh, I am safe, I am letting go of tension, I feel all these things, I feel less pain, and you're able to like manage that much better. It's so crazy cool to see you guys walk through that. Less likely for forceps and vacuum. Again, I think ultimately this comes back to movement, that physical support that doulas can do with you, getting you into different positions. We are working through the pelvis, through the inlet, the mid pelvis, the outlet. We're making space for that baby to come through, not only in labor, but in a prenatal sense too. We are talking about getting the baby in a optimal fetal position, and getting that all good to go. So we're hopefully less likely to use these said things. Reduce likely for cesarean birth. So when we reduce the use of Pitocin, pain meds, forceps, and vacuum use, we automatically reduce the likelihood of needing a cesarean. And so that can lead to a better APGAR score for baby, and you just feeling better about your birth. And just more positive long-term memories. So when you sit back here and look back at your birth, you can say, I did all the things. Christy helped me be informed and empowered in my decision making, no matter how birth unfolds, because bringing a doula into your space does not guarantee a vaginal birth. It doesn't guarantee that like everything's going to go 10 out of 10, and everything that you envisioned, but I do guarantee that you will be part of the decision making, especially when I'm on your team. I will do everything that I can to make space and make you be able to make informed decision making. At the bottom here is just physical support. It looks like my little thingy might be covering it, but essentially here we're just talking about the increased movement. We're deepening the relaxation between contractions, and doing comfort and reassurance, and we also have some lactation support in there, which is super fun. Birthing locations. And so know that as your doula, I support you in every single location that you want to give birth in. If you have a midwife and you want to give birth at home, let's do it, or the birth center, or the hospital, or there's alternatives like hotel rooms, which may be sounding a little too wild for you right now. And if you get past this video and you want to chat more, we'll chat more about it. But yeah, so that is all the options here. If you're giving birth with a OB, know that your option is just the hospital. So when we have a midwife, we have the option to birth wherever we want, as long as we're staying low risk and it's safe, and you and your midwife have made that decision making together. But yeah, you have all the options here. And so a lot of people think that you can only give birth at a hospital, which is not true, unless you're just with a doctor. Um, they aren't doing house calls for births at this time. um, which takes us to choosing our provider. And so, um, wherever you might be in your journey when you're listening this recording, you have a couple options potentially, depending how deep you are into stuff. But basically, your options of birthing in Alberta, you have two. We have our midwife. A midwife is going to provide us care for low risk families, including prenatal visits, labor support, postpartum care. Know that as midwives in Alberta, this is covered by Alberta Health. So you do not pay for a midwife. A lot of people are under the idea that we do have to pay for midwives, and we don't do that anymore. So these midwives are registered with the College of Midwives of Alberta. They've gone through 4 years of training. This is their bread and their butter, low risk birthing. And so they have the privileges to birth with you at home, hospital, birth center, wherever you want. The benefits here, we have personalized continuous care with a focus on that low intervention birth. Flexibility in your birth settings. So again, maybe you wanted to have a home birth and all of a sudden it's the day and you're like, oh my gosh, I changed my mind. I don't want to do this at home anymore. Let's go to a hospital. Okay, let's go, let's do it. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you're planning a hospital birth, you are low risk, all the things, and all of a sudden something happens, and you have the option to go home. So which is pretty cool. Again, publicly funded, so this is free to residents of Alberta. Any risks here? Biggest one being they're just high demand. So like as soon as you pee on that test, as soon as you find out you're pregnant, go on the Alberta midwife site, request care, get in there. This also, we're not suitable. Midwives are not suitable for high risk pregnancies or those requiring intensive medical interventions. So even on your journey with your midwife, there is a chance that if you do go high risk, they may have to transfer that care out, which you would be going to an OB anyways at that point in time. So on the other side of things, we have our GPs or OBs. So these obstetricians or just medical doctors, if you're in smaller communities, a lot of smaller communities don't have OBs. Maybe there's only a couple of them. But yeah, this is also their bread and butter. They are specializing in pregnancy and childbirth. They're capable of handling both routine and complex cases most of the times. If you're more rural, the more high risk that you get, the more likelihood you're probably just coming to the city, including doing surgeries like your C-sections and stuff. So benefits here, they are the experts in managing the high risk pregnancies and the obstetrical emergencies that can happen. Ability to perform necessary medical interventions. So that is like your forceps and your vacuum assisted deliveries. They're available 24/7 in hospitals. Risks here, there is an increased likelihood of receiving medical interventions and procedures just because that is the kind of nature of OBs and stuff. Like they are preventative medicine. They like to, which is like, if you feel safer here than in midwifery, then that's the path that you get to go. If you feel safer in midwifery than with OB care, then that's the way you go. I just want to make sure that everyone knows what provider you get is what makes you feel the safest. Okay. Yeah, and births with OBs obviously are going to be more hospital focused and a little less personalized. You're dealing with not just one person all the time, and so, oh, my mouse froze. Offerings. So we're gonna kind of just get into my different packages that I have here. Um, I make a joke, this isn't your grandma's birth support, but I'm like, maybe it is. And so let's talk about it. So what's included? So a consult call. So in this case, you have decided just to watch the recording, which this is exactly what we would be talking about if you were jumping on the call anyways. If you do decide to still do a consult call after this one, that's great. This is going to give me an opportunity to learn so much more about you, and so I would love you to still book a call if you're still interested. A little welcome package. So I have prairie mama sweaters that everyone gets, and birth combs, and we just kind of get you set up that way with things. Um, Through my system that I use for clients, I use a program called Dipsado, which allows me to kind of give you these virtual baskets, and they kind of drip out during your journey as a low-key childbirth education resources. So you guys have access to that throughout your journey with me, which is really nice for my clients who want to have tons of information, or just have access to it. Um, I have lots of different personalities of clients who come in, and some want so much info, and some are good. Like maybe this isn't your first rodeo. And so I just want you to know, if you want lots of info, it's there for you. This isn't by no means like mandatory homework. It's just resources there if you want it. Because birth is not one size fits all, there are a few packages that I offer, and so we'll kind of go through them quick. The idea here is just I want you to kind of craft the path that works best for you. And so this is going to take us over to my website, littledoulaontheprairie.com. Okay, so from the website, we head over to basically kind of just chatting about postpartum support. A lot of people think that like, oh, I'm good. Like my postpartum, we're fine. And so if you do feel good, let's just leave it as that, and we'll just do what's included in the packages. If you're getting towards our end of our journey together, and you're like, oh, Christy, I could use some extra postpartum support, you just let me know. But the idea here is that I just want you to be able to settle into your home, having a little bit more guidance, a little bit more support, some nourishing meal preparation, and so getting you set up that way. And the home care, just taking care of that the light whole household tasks. So we're doing laundry, we're doing dishes, we're doing all of those things that like you kind of want to do, need to do, but you shouldn't have to do because you have just given birth. Healing touch. So I do herbal foot baths. I am trained in some belly binding. We can do womb rubs, which is just like an abdominal massage just to help that healing of that area up. Emotional support, I would say like this is where a lot of it comes from, is just being able to spend time with you, reflect on your story, make sure you feel good about your story. And if things are coming up, we find and make space for you to go heal from that a little bit more. And so partner support, providing supporting guidance for your partner. And yeah, I just show up to your house with this basket full of goodies, and love you exactly how you need to be loved in that moment. And sometimes postpartum visits look a lot different. I show up with all this food and I have every intention of doing it, but sometimes it's just emotional support that day. We just sit and we cry and we hold each other on the couch and talk about your birth, and I leave you with the groceries, or I stay like it's whatever you need that day. And so I just want to make sure that everyone feels loved during their postpartum, and how we talk about you don't have to birth alone, you also don't have to do postpartum alone. Payment. So lots of questions come up about payment, and I wanted to just make space for this here. I'm incredibly aware that getting a doula isn't just this small little expense. And so I just wanted to make sure that you guys know how much I value you and how hard you work. I wanted to make it super accessible for people coming in and wanting doula support, that like, oh my gosh, I can't afford half a fee, a whole fee. So initially for me, all that I need up front is just the $250. And that's just a commitment fee. That's us signing the contract. That's all that's going to be. So once you sign the contract, that little fee will come through. And this just ensures your commitment. This gets you on the calendar, and then it gives you guys time and space to kind of figure out the rest. Within this program, Debsato, that I mentioned earlier, I do have the option of setting up some payment reminders if you would like. I can do cash, e-transfers, split the payment up 4 ways, 6 ways, all of the ways. And so I try to get everything cleared up by 38 weeks so you can go into your birth knowing everything's good to go. Within this fee, I do have a lot of clients who live a long ways from me. And so within each of these packages, I have built up 60 kilometers to somewhere and then 60 kilometers back from somewhere. So 120 kilometers per trip. That's on me. I got it. Beyond 60 kilometers, there will be a little bit of a mileage thrown on that. If you're living like 65 kilometers away from me, we're not going to worry about it. But if it's like you live in Wainwright, or I don't know where else, Stettler, there might be a little bit of a fee thrown on there for mileage. But yeah, again, if you guys have any questions about that, you just let me know. And then basically whatever happens from here is just however you feel. If you've jumped off this call and you're like, Christy, you were so kind, but I'm just going to kind of keep looking, that's okay. I want you to keep looking. I want you to feel like you can find someone that is going to be in your corner, being able to support you. You can envision them in your space. If you get off this call and you are wanting to chat more, I would love to hear from you. Reach out to me if you are interested in care and you haven't already submitted a request for care on my website. I highly encourage you to go do that now, and it's going to hit my inbox, and then you will have access to all of this information, how we can book a call together and get started on this wonderful journey together. And so there we go. Thanks for spending time with me. I know you guys are working busy nonstop these days, and so I just wanted to stop and say thank you so much for giving me your time during this. So thank you guys so much, and we'll catch you later.